Moments ago I lost power. It's been raining for several days and I'm just over it, and finally the power's gone out. And I actually had a batch of eggs at day 12, so I'm really concerned. If the power doesn't come back on soon, it's going to be a struggle. What I'm going to do is try and put some candles underneath. When I elevate this, put some candles under and try to add some heat back in. They'll probably last a couple hours without assistance, but then they'll all die. So I'm going to try and get some heat back in and just hope that the authorities put the power back on. But considering the whole city's flooding, that might be a challenge. So these eggs are now at risk of all failing. So yes, very disappointing. So what I've figured out I'm going to try and do is I've elevated the incubator. This is going to be quite difficult, but I'm going to try and slide these under and add some heat. And I do have a thermostat. This is a thermostat, it's hard to see, but I can add some heat to the eggs, and I'm going to probably cover this if I want to trap it in, but I'm going to have to really watch the heat so I don't overheat them. And yeah, this is going to be a pain. So I'm going to keep this thermometer inside the incubator, spread these out and monitor it. But I'll only be able to do this for a couple of hours because it will just get too difficult. So we'll see how this goes. I'm not confident that this will work, so I'm really relying on the power being turned back on. Goes to show you got to be prepared for everything. I actually had to raise it a bit more because the flames from these were actually starting to melt the underside of the incubator. But I've had this on and it's starting to trip up, so it's coming up, which is good. So I should be able to get that up. It needs to be about 37.5 Celsius. So it is coming up slowly. I can trap this heat in a bit more, but I'm just conscious I don't want to overdo it. So I'm just going to keep doing that. Meanwhile, that is the basement floor. It's all flooded. Got water coming out of the walls. That is just pouring out of the wall. That's crazy. So much rain. So I've been able to get it up to 37.5, not without difficulty. I've got t-shirts wrapped around. I've got a tarpaulin, a tarp over top of it. It's fluctuating a little bit. So 37.5, that's 6 now, about 99.7 Fahrenheit. So that's where I'm at the moment, but it's challenging. You've got to keep adjusting it. And I do have the added difficulty that I've got to turn the eggs at some point. So that's a challenge as well. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to realistically do this through the night. It's just not safe with the naked flames. So that's a challenge. It's starting to overheat now, so I'm going to have to let some more air out as it gets too hot. What a pain in the butt this is. Yeah. Lessons learned. Won't need a backup generator. I'm going to do this in summer again. So it's about this point where I boxed in the incubator. I was raising the heat because without the actual encasing it with the tarp and everything, it wasn't raising enough. So I did that. Temperature came up, and then it got quite close, and then all of a sudden this temperature started shooting up. So I ripped it off, and what had happened was the plastic underneath the incubator had actually started to warp and then started to drip, and then the whole thing kind of fell down. Enough of it fell down that it caught fire, and so the flame lit up and the plastic started catching fire, and then all the heat went up into the incubator. It was only happened for a couple of seconds, but you know, I can't believe I set the incubator on fire. It's just hard dealing with naked flames, and so I blew all that out, but at that point I had to just give up on the idea. And yeah, the power didn't come on. I think they were without power for 5.5 hours, which is quite a long time. And then I had the overheating that happened with that. So they went under, then they went over, and then they went under. Not good. Not a good position to be in. I'm going to have to look at different options in the future. I had to elevate the incubator so that when I added water to increase the humidity, it didn't run to the hole and just fall out. Amazingly, even with setting the incubator on fire, there are some birds starting to hatch. You can just see 2, and they're fresh. And there's one pipping over the back. There's another one pipping there. So that's very pleasing. I don't expect a high hatch rate, but anything's better than nothing after what happened. Just collecting the 2. Little troublemakers. 2 so far. Might be all. Look how tiny they are. Just the 2 that have survived so far, so we'll see how it goes. I'm not expecting too many more actually, to be honest, but we might get another wave. Got 3 more, so that's something. Right there in the back. I'm going to take them out now. One week old now. I haven't spent much time since they're a bit flighty, but they've been really docile. Just to illustrate what happened with the fire, I have the incubator here. What I did was I sealed up the base. I taped up some rubber. I taped it on the bottom because I still wanted to try and keep the heat in and keep the humidity in when I was adding humidity, but I don't think this worked that well. The eggs were damaged anyway, so if I take this off, I should be able to show you the damage. That's what the fire did. Remarkable. It only was a few seconds, hole right through it. That is crazy. So this is wrecked, so I need to come up with a replacement. It actually damaged the egg tray. It's kind of hard to see, but that melted too around here with black. So whatever eggs were sitting here, they got cooked. So I hope they weren't alive when that happened, but they may well have been. So that was day 12, so that was just a disaster. So going forward, I don't know what else you can do. You have to have a generator handy. It was a long time. I couldn't go drive to some mate's place to help me out because we weren't supposed to be out on the roads and it was kind of dangerous, and storms and flooding everywhere. My city had 80% of its annual rainfall in 3 days apparently, so that's just crazy. To look for a positive though out of the whole experience, I did get 5 birds. This one's a week old now. He's not happy with me, she's not happy with me. So these 5 I'm probably just going to keep them to the breeding colony because I figure they've been through fire, they've been through ice, they are very tough birds. I figure so I'm just going to add them into the breeding mix because yeah, if they survived all that and everything I did that nearly killed them all, they've got to be pretty tough, so I want that breeding stock mixed through the bloodlines. So these 5 are quite special. Yeah, I hope to never go through that again.